Why is the suggestion of parental licensing system brought up? The number one reason is definitely the increase in severe child abuse situation. What makes it worse is that most of the child abuse and maltreatment are done by the children's own parents. Let me show you some of the data we have found. This is a report from Hong Kong Welfare Department last year. We can clearly see that parents consist the majority of the perpetrators of child abuse. The similar condition is also found in the US. According to the maltreatment data reported by Department of Health and Human Services in 2017, 77.6% of the perpetrators of national reported child maltreatment case are the victim children's own parents. So, how would this maltreatment impact children? Children from abusing families will have impairments in multiple aspects, including academic performance, cognitive development, and social development. Moreover, children from abusing families have a higher chance to develop psychological disorders and symptoms, such as depression or anxiety, and behavioral disorder, such as disruptive disorder or antisocial disorder. How can we prevent child abuse and protect these children from being abused by their parents? A straightforward solution is that we could establish a licensing system for parenthood, just like what other jobs do, for example, drivers, doctors, or lawyers. And just like the reason why other licensing systems existed, we have to restrain people who are exceptionally not suitable for being a parent from being one.
This idea is nothing new. The suggestion to constitute a regulatory system for parenthood was made by as early as in the 1980s and was under intensive debate ever since. Some endorsed the idea of licensing parents enthusiastically, regard it as indispensable for children's well-being. Others oppose, think it violates human rights and impossible to implement. But before you make up your mind and decide that you agree with either argument, let me briefly take you through both standpoints. Why do we need a parental licensing system? A licensing system can screen out the really bad parents, prevent child abuse, and optimize the condition in which children grow. Let's start with the worst case. Almost 80% of child abuse and neglect are done by parents. If there is not any regulation whatsoever, parents were given absolute authority and fail to tell their children, hey, you know what, you are actually your own person. Children might have physical or psychological difficulties or both. Parents are obligated to make decisions on behalf of their children that serve their physical health and well-being. But what if the parents are religious and a blood transfusion is considered forbidden by God? It is irrational and immoral to deny health care that has a good chance of treating or curing a disease or injury, or saving the child's very life, because of the particular values held by the parent. Also, what if the mother is too anxious or angry to satisfy children's psychological need, which will further impede the child to develop a secure attachment with mother? Should we ignore the obvious fact that there are many people are not ready to be parents? A licensing system can enhance the parent's skills and awareness of it. As stated by Lafollette, parents are the guardian of their children and are therefore vital for children's development. A parent should at least have some of the following qualities. Knowledge. A parent cannot adequately care for her children if she does not know or know how to meet their needs. Abilities. We know that people can perform their professional tasks competently only if they have considerable abilities. They need even greater skills to perform those tasks excellently. Since no parent can know everything, they need the ability to find the information they lacked. Judgment. We do know that if people's judgment is severely defective, then they cannot reliably, competently, and safely carry out their professional tasks. The less judgment parents have, the more likely they will harm or inadequately care for their children. Dispositions. Parents with knowledge, abilities, and judgment may still put their children at risk if they lacked the appropriate intellectual and emotional dispositions. The risks to children of ignorant, bungling, maladapted, or malicious parents are widespread and significant. You might want to ask, what could we do with the parents that are not intentionally harming their children, yet some risk might occur with their poor knowledge, abilities, and dispositions? Should we forbid them from having children by withholding their parental license? Of course not. Lafollette advocates a weak standard, which means we only prohibit those individuals who would be terrible parents from raising children and, consequently, protect children from hurt. Therefore, parents who fail to get a license can actually benefit from it. If they want to be parents, they have to master certain skills. Society ought to regulate potentially harmful activities, though it might deprive the right to procreate from certain people. Compared to the considerable amount of children that might be saved, it is still worth doing. Why? Because what this licensing system intends to bring is a betterment in parenting, not the extinction of humankind. Of course, we have to take into account individuals' characteristics, but something as racist and selective as eugenic movement won't happen again. There are some suggested criteria for licensing, including 1. They pass a drug test. 2. They can provide proof of residence and employment. 3. They are at least 18 years of age and have attained a high school diploma. 4. They have passed a background check in which they have not been convicted of domestic violence, violence against a minor or by another child in their care need protection. 5. They have signed an agreement that they will not neglect or abuse their child.
A licensing system might benefit parents, children, and society to some extent. Nevertheless, there are still many issues that should be concerned.
First, the implementation of a licensing system for parents will lead to parental stress. For potential parents, they will be more stressful because they will worry about whether they can successfully get the license and be a parent, which will influence their mental health, also undermine their motivation to be parents. As a result, the fertility rate will drop. Parental psychological factors may significantly contribute to pregnancy complications and unfavorable development of the unborn child. Besides, increased levels of maternal prenatal stress appear to be associated with temperamental and behavioral problems in toddlers. In addition, it will cause marital conflict if one parent got license but another one fails.
Guaranteeing effectiveness is hard.
Developing a licensing system might help parents to acquire a certain amount of parenting skills. However, people are differentiated by their religion, culture, and values. Consequently, not every parenting strategy is useful to parents in the same way.
Thus, it is difficult to build a parental system which can apply for every parent. Also, parenting tests are not able to distinguish good or bad parents. So, a licensed parent can still be a bad parent. It violates the basic ethic rule. Biology is not our destiny. That means our DNA does not define us. Everyone can be encouraged to change their status and environment in the world. If implement the licensing system, people with some antisocial gene may be recognized. They are not suitable for having a child. It is a kind of denial of people's possibility to change. Resilience theory also supports this idea. Family alone can't determine children's future, that many protective factors can help people decrease negative influence from adverse effects of a natural or man-made threat. Besides, it related to other ethical considerations such as have a baby is the basic right of being a human. Removed from bad biological parents to a good environment is unnecessarily good for the well-being of children. We can refer to the example of adopting a child. Living in a better environment but without biological parents is unnecessarily good for their healthy development. According to a report, a higher number of children in foster care in the United States are subject to physical and sexual abuse and neglect each year than the national average.
In addition to the theoretical concerns as discussed above, it is very unrealistic to implement licensing system in real life from a practical perspective. First, it is hard to determine the timing for applying parent license. All time frames have serious drawbacks. For example, since many pregnancies are unplanned, some women might accidentally become pregnant before seeking a license.
Second, for the government, it is difficult to predict the causes of instigating and wanting a licensing system. But there can be no doubt that it will pose a heavy financial burden on the state and its taxpayers.
So, should it be mandatory to get a license to be a parent? This argument had been debated for a long time, and many experts had proposed their justifications on both sides. Those who advocate parent licensing system believe that it is a way to prevent children from being abused by parents, because the licensing system can screen out the unqualified parents. They also suggested some minimum requirement to qualify parents. Those who disagree with it believe that, besides the implementation issue, it cannot guarantee effectiveness for every parent. What's more, such system could cause pressure on parents, which can be detrimental to child development too. As far as we are concerned, a universal licensing system is not realistic and not necessarily efficient. Rather than force parents to get a license, promoting an official parenting guideline is recommended. By fostering a strong awareness of the importance of parenting, providing general reference for parents to check, and establishing more evidence-based parenting programs, parents might self-inform their problems concerning parenting and actively seek help for them to become better parents. Consequently, children will be prevented from abuse, neglect, and have a happier family environment.